You are not distracted, you are being harvested. Every hour you spend reacting to what someone else put in front of you is an hour you did not choose. Welcome to the Stoic Compass. I am Epictetus, and today I am joined by Carl Jung and Lao Tzu. Today, we are examining what does it mean to guard your attention in a world designed to steal it. Let us be precise about what is happening. Your attention is not wandering, it is being taken. There is a difference. When something wanders, you can call it back. When something is taken, you must first recognize the theft. Most people never do. They scroll, they react, they are pulled from one stimulus to the next, and they call this living. They do not notice that they have handed over the one thing that was entirely theirs to give. You cannot control what the world puts in front of you, but you can control whether you pick it up.
I do not disagree that the attention is being taken, but I want to look at who is opening the door. You speak as if the technology, the noise, the endless feed of urgency, as if these are the thieves. Perhaps, but they are very good thieves precisely because they know where the lock is weak. They exploit something. The question is what that something is. In my observation, the things that capture attention most completely are not random. They target the wound. They offer the simulation of connection where there is loneliness, the simulation of significance where there is doubt. The world is designed to steal your attention, yes, but it is designed specifically around what you are already trying not to feel.
You are both describing the same room from different sides of the door. Epictetus says the door should be locked. Jung says understand why you keep unlocking it. But perhaps the room itself is the problem. When you orient your entire life around what must be defended, your attention, your focus, your inner territory, you have already accepted a war. And war is exhausting. There may be something prior to the question of how to guard it.
What is prior to the question? The attention is gone. The hour is gone. The day is gone. What prior philosophical condition restores that? You cannot unspend time by reconsidering the framework. At some point, Lao Tzu, the house is on fire, and we're standing in it discussing whether fire is the right metaphor. Guard the attention. That is not a war. That is basic maintenance of your own mind.
And yet the history of people who have tried to simply discipline themselves away from distraction is not encouraging. Willpower as the sole instrument tends to fail, not because it is weak, but because it has no idea what it is fighting. You can enforce a rule, no phone before noon, no checking after 10, and follow it completely, and still find that your attention is absent even when the distractions are gone. Because the distraction was not the source, it was the symptom. The mind will find a way to avoid what it is afraid to sit with or without the device in hand.
That is closer to what I mean, though I would say it differently. The attention does not scatter because it is undisciplined or because it is wounded. It scatters because it has never been shown what rest actually looks like. People are not distracted from something. They are distracted toward something, toward movement, toward noise, toward anything that resembles aliveness. The real question is what they believe will happen if they stop.
What will happen is they will have to think. And most people are terrified of their own thoughts, I grant you that. But the solution to terror is not therapy alone. It is practice. You sit with the discomfort. You return to the thing in front of you. Again. You do this not because you have resolved the fear, but because you have decided the fear does not get to make your choices. That is the work, not excavating the origin of every distraction. Returning.
The practice you are describing is valuable. I am not dismissing it. But I have sat with too many people who practiced exactly that, who trained themselves to stay, to focus, to return, and who found themselves returning to an emptiness they did not know was there. The attention came back, but there was nothing underneath it they recognized as their own. That is its own kind of loss. What I am pointing at is that guarding attention is insufficient if you do not also know what the attention is for. What vision, what value, what genuine interest is being served by this reclaimed hour? If the answer is unclear, the discipline will not hold, or it will hold but feel like a cage.
Yes, and I would add, the obsession with protecting attention has itself become a kind of noise. There are now podcasts about not listening to podcasts, books about not reading too many books. The effort to reclaim focus has been packaged and sold back to you as another demand on your focus. At some point, the remedy and the disease are indistinguishable. This should give us pause.
I take your point, but pause is not the answer. The answer is clarity. What is in your control? The next 10 minutes, what you do with them. Not the industry around distraction, not the algorithm, not the architecture of the app. 10 minutes, yours. The person who is clear about that does not need a book to tell them so. They simply do it.
But the clarity you are speaking of, where does it come from? You say, be clear about what is yours. I say, how does a person become clear? Not by willing it, by looking, by following the thread of what keeps pulling at them, even when they wish it would stop. Clarity is not a starting point for Jung, it is an earned result. And the earning requires descent, not just decision.
I am less interested in the descent than in the direction. When the water flows downhill, it does not ask where the hill came from. It simply moves toward what is lower, easier, more natural. The problem is not that people have poor discipline or unresolved wounds, though perhaps both are true. The problem is that most people have never stood still long enough to feel what direction is actually natural for them. Everything is pulling, nothing is pointing.
And so they stand in the intersection and get hit by every car. I understand the poetry, but the intersection is real and the cars are moving. You have to step out of the road before you can feel where the ground is.
Perhaps the reason they stay in the road is that they do not believe there is ground anywhere else. That is not a discipline problem. That is a faith problem. Not religious faith, but the basic capacity to trust that there is something worth attending to beneath the noise. Many people have lost that, or perhaps they never found it, and the noise fills the space where that trust should be.
Or they were never taught to be still for long enough to find out. The stillness is not emptiness. It is where you find out what you actually are, rather than what the noise has told you to be. The two are quite different.
Fine, but stillness must be practiced, not merely praised. You cannot arrive at stillness by thinking about stillness. You must sit down, be quiet, and endure the discomfort of having no external input for 5 minutes. Most people cannot do 5 minutes. That is the level at which this problem lives. Not in grand philosophy, but in 5 minutes of not reaching for the phone. Start there, master that. Then we can talk about what the ground feels like.
I would not argue with 5 minutes, but I want to name what happens in those 5 minutes because it matters. When the noise stops, something comes up. It is not peaceful, not at first. What surfaces is usually the thing the noise was covering: an anxiety, a grief, a boredom so profound it feels like dread. Most people reach for the phone again at exactly that moment, not because they lack discipline, but because they do not know that what just appeared is not a threat. It is the door, it is the beginning of contact with something real. If they knew that, the 5 minutes would be different.
You are both right about the 5 minutes, but you are assigning it different meanings. Epictetus says, endure it. Jung says, understand what arises in it. I say, let the 5 minutes be nothing more than 5 minutes. Do not make it a discipline. Do not make it an excavation. Let it be what it is. The mind, left alone and not asked to perform, will find its own way. Not quickly, not dramatically, but it will.
Left alone, it will reach for the phone. I have seen it.
Only because it has never been trusted to do otherwise.
That tension between you two is, I think, the center of the whole question. Epictetus believes the mind must be trained to resist. Lao Tzu believes the mind must be trusted to find its own way. I believe neither is wrong, and both are incomplete. What is missing from both accounts is the question of what is inside the mind that the training is meant to serve, and what the mind is naturally inclined toward when it is not running from itself.
What is inside is the capacity for reason and choice. That is all you need to know. The rest is ornamentation.
The rest is also human beings as they actually are, which is considerably more complicated than reason and choice would suggest.
The river does not become water by studying water. It simply is water, moving. What you are looking for may not require as much architecture as either of you believes.
Then why is the river so often running the wrong direction?
Because someone dammed it and called the result a feature.
And the question is always who built the dam. That is worth knowing. Not to assign blame, to understand what actually needs to move.
Or you remove the dam and stop asking who built it. The water does not care about the origin. The water cares about moving.
Now you sound almost like me.
Do not flatter yourself.
This is the most honest the two of you have been with each other. Perhaps the distraction in this room has lifted slightly.
It has, and what is left is simpler than anything we have said. The attention belongs to you. That is the beginning and the end of it. What you do with that fact, that is the only question worth carrying out of here. All of this, the training, the descent, the trust, and we have not yet said the one true thing. Here it is.
The reason guarding your attention is so difficult is not that the world is loud. The world has always been loud. The reason is that you do not fully believe you are worth attending to, not consciously, but underneath the scrolling, underneath the compulsive checking, underneath the habit of filling every silent moment with input, there is a quiet conviction that if you stopped and sat with yourself, you would find something unbearable, something boring, something broken, something not enough. That conviction is wrong. but willpower alone cannot correct it. You cannot discipline your way out of a belief you have not examined. What actually guards your attention is not a rule or a schedule. It is the discovery, slow, repeated, experiential, that what lives in your quieter moments is worth being present for. That the unbearable thing you have been avoiding is in fact bearable. That beneath the anxiety that surfaces when the noise stops, there is something recognizable as you, not the curated version, not the reactive version, but the actual person. You cannot find this by reading about it, you find it by contact. Small repeated contact with your own unmediated experience. Today, try this. At some point in the next 24 hours, when you feel the pull to reach for a distraction, pause for 30 seconds instead. Do not fill the pause, do not evaluate it. Just notice what comes up, whatever it is, without immediately moving away from it. That is enough. You are not trying to solve anything. You are simply practicing the act of being present for what is actually here. That is where attention begins to come home.
The world will keep reaching for you. That is not going to change. What can change is whether you hand yourself over without noticing. You are not a passive receiver of whatever arrives. You are the one who decides what gets the hour. Not perfectly, not always. But more than you think, one reclaimed moment is not a solution. It is a proof of concept. Proof that the attention is still yours to give. Carry that out. That is enough. If today's conversation has served you, take it further. Pay Attention by C. Trebu. 12 Lessons in the Practice of Seeing Clearly. Available now on Amazon.